Phew, that's a relief. Biff, pow, zap, clunk, clunk, ouchie. Hey guys. Today I'm going to be looking at a very exciting piece of software called Relief Maker. And straight from the off, this software is so good, it's going to be hard to find anything to talk about. You'll see what I mean in a moment. I was put onto this by my good buddy Juan from One of a Kind, and he's already done a video on this topic, and it's probably much better than mine if I'm going to be honest, so do check out that video and his channel. So what is a relief and why do we want them? Well, in this instance, a 3D relief can be thought of as taking a three-dimensional object and flattening it so that it's almost two-dimensional, but keeping sufficient detail to fool the eye into thinking that it is a three-dimensional shape. And if that's confusing, think of a coin. And we do see this all the time in jewellery making, on signs and engravings, etc. Now you might think creating a relief is easy enough, but actually it can be tricky. You may have seen this lion's head pendant in a recent castable resin video which I've shared. The lion's head itself was created by talented artists Printed Obsession, and this can be freely downloaded on thanks.com for personal use, though Printed Obsession have kindly given me permission to use this file here and even give away the finished STL free for personal use. So let's take this amazingly detailed lion's head and squash it flat enough to act like a pendant. Now initially you may think it looks okay, but if we zoom in a little you can see there's lots of little overhangs, and these could make printing very difficult and would probably snag on skin and clothes. With plenty of time and effort, we could manually adjust this, filling in these overhangs and maybe popping the details that we really wanted to stand out. But it would be a lot of work, and there's a much better way which is stupidly easy to do. Meet Relief Maker, a software by Alibre. And before you moan and groan saying, "Oh no, not another software to learn," think again. Remember me saying the problem with this software is finding something to talk about? Well, here's Relief Maker in under 10 seconds. Import an STL or OBJ, position it how you like. Click Generate Relief. It really is that easy. Before we start celebrating too quickly, there's obviously a catch, and the catch is it's not free. However, it's not bad as far as software prices go. $400 gets you the Pro version, and for me, this is the obvious choice. I love detail, and with an output range of around 1600 by 1600 pixels, this is capable of some amazing detail. The beauty of it is, this is a forever license, so no silly monthly or annual subscriptions. The software is being aimed at jewellery designing, coin making, sign making, CNC projects and more, and the benefits are obvious: ease of use and speed of production. Most importantly, despite this being a very easy to use software that you'll have mastered in minutes, there's useful tutorials on the website showing you how it can be used with a multitude of softwares like ZBrush, Blender, Fusion 360 and many more. And again, these tutorials are nice and simple to follow. So let's take a closer look. Out of the box, this is what you see. And these default settings have been chosen with care because most of the time these are all you need. I'm going to double the size of my resolution because I like detail and because I watched Juan's video and that's what he did. Next, I'll open an asset which is simply an STL or OBJ file. Now the level of the quality you can expect is predetermined by these files. If you have a low poly file with poor detail, then don't expect anything better. There is a mesh optimization option which tries to help, but in honesty, if you put rubbish in, you shouldn't expect to get a masterpiece out. This background is the canvas itself, and using the mouse wheel, I can zoom in and out. Holding down the left mouse button lets me pan the object around to get the angle that I'd like most. Holding down the right mouse button allows me to adjust the light source, making it easier for me to see how the light and shadows will impact the relief. Something you may want to alter is the focal length. It's hard to say what setting you'll need, as it depends largely on what the project is, but you'll know what it is when you see it. You can adjust the height scale, and this will determine how embossed the relief will appear. Personally, I'll be using this for ZBrush, so it doesn't really matter, as you'll see in a moment, so I'll leave it alone. Now you can play with the rest of the settings if you like, but just clicking Generate Relief will work right now. And look at the detail here. But maybe you want to do something else, maybe a group of people. Well, I haven't got people, but I have got orcs. So this time I'll choose 3 separate files and upload them at once. You get a message about adjusting the scale, and that's your choice. I'm going to ignore this as I'm going to be adjusting the scale anyway. Holding down the mouse wheel lets you grab and move any object. I can scale this fella in the usual way. By changing the sizes, I can alter the perspective to create distance and depth. Unfortunately, this guy is in the wrong place, spoiling the effect. So if I pan around and look from above, I can alter their positions accordingly. That seems to work, so generate relief. But what if I didn't want an embossed relief, but instead an inset relief, like an engraving you might find on a signet ring? Well, you do everything the same, except this time you tick this invert relief box and watch what happens. It's as easy as that. By now you get the idea, but let's try a real example. Let's try to recreate this pendant. I begin by altering my size and importing the Lion's Head STL by Printed Obsession. I just want a head-on view, but I'll adjust the focal length. This time I want the relief to pop forward a little, and I can do this by adding a bevel. I'll go with large, and generate relief. Now I need to export this, and as it's for ZBrush, I'll be choosing a TIFF file. Different applications need different files, but the provided tutorials will make all that nice and clear. And then you'll get this lengthy message which blows my tiny mind. But like most things with this software, I just accept the default and it works perfectly. Working with ZBrush now, I've created this background setting for the pendant. I'll add a plane and subdivide this to a resolution of approximately 1,000,000. Now I'm going to use the TIFF file as an alpha. So with standard brush, select rectangle and import. I'll remove all focal shift and make sure that the brush is an OK size. And finally, I'll drag it into existence. Remember what I said about height issues with ZBrush? The alpha does seem to flatten things off here. So I use adjust last and alter things until it feels just right. And a tip from my buddy Juan's video is to use the contrast target brush, but don't overdo it. Now I'm going to boolean the head free with a cube. Let's make the background visible. Maybe adjust the thickness of the lion a little. Now it's ready to boolean everything together, and you've got to admit that's a very easy way to make a complicated looking piece with just a few simple steps. For another example, let's engrave a coat of arms onto a signet ring. Here's the coat of arms courtesy of Thingiverse, and the relief is easily created and exported. In ZBrush I already have a signet ring, so I'll use an alpha brush, subtracting this time, to engrave the image onto the surface. Okay, this central area needs to be tidied up a little. Maybe I could insert another symbol here, who knows, but the point is I can make adjustments easily and the topography within ZBrush is still nice and light, meaning I shouldn't get computer drags or crashes. Now ZBrush fans will already be screaming, I can do reliefs in ZBrush, it's called Bas Relief, I don't need this extra software. And that's true, but let's do a quick comparison. This zombie ring has plenty of detail. So let's do a quick head-on relief. using a plane in ZBrush, this is subdivided to 4 million. I'll alpha the zombie to life, and that's looking good, plenty of detail. On an identical plane, still 4 million, I'll use the same STL and project Bas Relief. At first glance, it's not too bad. Actually, you might be thinking that ZBrush has done a better job, but let's get in a little closer. We can see the ZBrush Bas Relief version is quite rough. Certainly we could work with it, but if any adjustments are needed, it's going to take much more time to tidy things up. We'd probably need to subdivide again just to get the precision that we need, and that could slow things down. But the Relief Maker example is much finer topography. Even close in, it looks great, and this can only give us cleaner prints. So even though both versions are the same size, Relief Maker gives us much finer detail. So what do I think of the Relief Maker software? Well, it does one job, but it does that job brilliantly. If making reliefs is your thing, and you'll know whether or not it is, then this software is for you. Right now, it's very early days for this software, as I'm using version 1.0, but I found it both capable and stable. I will confess that I haven't been able to find an undo button, and when you make as many mistakes as I do, that is a must, but hopefully future versions may have this. The important thing is that anyone can use this software, and in just a couple of minutes they can be producing reliefs that are perfectly structured for use in jewellery making, CNC projects, coin making and more. It may be a niche product, but it's a very useful one. In short, it's versatile, very easy, and an absolute blessing for anyone needing this specific application. And that's it for this video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. So take care, and thanks for watching.